I want to confront the comments I received regarding my roommate. First off, I appreciate the input from the person that said my roommate may have just been a vampire. However, as you will soon find out, that's not the case. Next, the several comments I received about if my roommate is Slenderman and wants to be friends, who better to have around if I run into some other paranormal things than the big man himself. After what's gone down recently, I actually completely agree with you. I may be terrified of his abilities, but him being on my side is probably the best thing that could have happened to me. Secondly, if you have no clue what I'm talking about, I recommend checking out the previous upload, which has a bit of useful information about my current situation. Anyway, let's get into this whole debacle. After a few days of odd occurrences making me question my sanity, I heard Terry calling some people over the phone, making multiple phone calls in succession. I'm not one to eavesdrop, but I did eavesdrop on him for one reason and one reason only. Well, maybe two reasons. Before I get into that, though, I want to level with you guys a little bit. I'm a bit of a creepypasta geek. I was around when creepypastas were first getting big. Slenderman, Jeff the Killer, even those really cringy EXE ones. So when I heard my roommate, who I had sneaking suspicions of being Slenderman, calling and talking to people named Jeff, Jack, and some others I didn't recognize, I thought this guy was gonna have some kind of paranormal sausage fest on a Monday night of all nights. So I made it a point to get off work as soon as possible and check in to see what was going on. Unfortunately, I ended up having to stay 2 hours late because some asshole called in sick. I briefly considered going to check in during my breakfast break, then I remembered that I couldn't leave the store unless I had to help someone pump their gas. This is strictly just so we don't miss out on the 2 sales overnight, not for any paranormal reasons. No, paranormal activity only occurs at my house, not my job. When I got home, I was expecting Terry to have cleaned the place to hide any evidence of a party. When I actually got there and walked in, I realized I was expecting too much of him. The place smelled and looked like shit. It was like they had tried to cover every surface in their bodily fluids. There was some sort of dried brownish color on the carpet and walls, along with some puddles of what may have been pus. I nearly threw up right then and there, but I noticed Terry was lying on the couch face down. I snuck over, pushing the stomach acid down for the time being. Getting to the front of the couch, I tried to get a glimpse of his face, but it was firmly planted into the couch. I slowly began to move my hands toward his face to try to get a better look. But right before I could touch it, some guy with a voice reminiscent of an 80-year-old with a smoking addiction said, "What in the actual hell are you doing here?" I looked up to see who was talking, only to see a man with a completely white face, along with a smile carved ear to ear into it. Kind of like the Joker, or some kind of creepypasta we all likely know. Needless to say, even though I was expecting paranormal beings, I still pissed myself. Hello? I'm Terry's... I was cut off. Wait. Hold on. Is that the name he used? I regained some of my senses and said, "Can I finish what I was saying? I'm Terry's roommate." I was trying to sound brave, but likely sounded like I had just been kicked in the balls. Alright, I know, scary stuff. I see you still don't know who Terry really is. You look like you know who I already am, so I'm going to be frank. My name is Jeff. Your roommate right there is the mystical Slenderman. Ooh, so scary, right? He's actually more of a tame entity when it comes right down to it. As am I. Sure, we do some pretty messed up shit, but we have self-control. Unlike some entities. He raised his voice, and suddenly I noticed something that had been standing behind me. I slowly turned my head to see some kind of lanky, furry creature standing behind me. Just as quickly as I noticed it, it disappeared into the shadows. Literally into the shadows behind the couch. Okay, first off, what in the actual hell is that? Secondly, you mean to tell me that he is actually the Slenderman? Holy shit, I thought I was losing my mind when I saw the tentacle things behind Terry from time to time. I responded with all sorts of emotions. To answer your first question, that was a skinwalker. Technically, humans only know of one form of skinwalker, but there are many different types with many different abilities. That one's name is Jacob. I immediately cut him off. Really? Jacob? No cool name that goes with his appearance, like Shadow, or Night, or Darkness, or something? He continued. Okay, don't interrupt me. If you haven't forgotten, I am a murderer. There was an awkward pause, and then he burst into laughter. I'm not gonna kill you. Just wanted to see if you were gonna piss yourself again. Gotta be honest, even for a serial killer, he was kind of a dick. He continued. Anyway, you wouldn't be able to understand his real name if I said it, but it means darkness of 1,000 voids. Jacob is easier to say in conversation, and at this point, that's how everyone knows him. I interrupted him yet again. Wait, what do you mean by everyone? I've never heard of a skinwalker named Jacob that could disappear into shadows. Stop interrupting me, and I will get to all of it. Holy shit, do you have an off switch that won't kill you? He paused again, presumably for dramatic effect. Anyway, I don't think you've heard of any skinwalkers with names. It's probably because most people who encounter them end up dying. You're probably the only human who's lived after seeing that type. The paranormal world is a lot bigger than you realize. When I said everyone, I meant everyone in that category of people. He checked an imaginary watch on his hand and let out a sigh. I'd love to sit around and chat, but I got places to be, people to kill, and money to make. With that, he put on a face mask and headed out the door. I imagine he's more worried about people finding out his identity than the virus. I'm gonna be completely honest and say that after all that's happened, I figured everything that had happened had been a sleep-deprived hallucination. I am open-minded, but finding out that Jeff the Killer, Slenderman, and Skinwalkers are all real was just too much at once. I mean, who would go along with it unless they already believe that they're all real rather than just stories? What sane person would say, oh, okay, seems legit, and go along with their day? Afterwards, I decided to go to sleep, and hopefully everything would be back to normal in the morning. About 4 hours later or so, I woke to a knocking on my door. I moaned and got out of bed reluctantly. Yo, T-Man, is that you? I said, walking to my door, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. I think so? I heard Terry respond from the other side of the door. When I opened it, I suppose I was expecting him to be wearing his usual cover-up. However, I was not expecting his blank face to be staring into my soul. Hey, so Jeff I cut him off. Holy shit! Oh, fuck! Holy shit! Calm your tits, man. I thought Jeff told you what I was. He said, kind of confused. Yeah, about that! I calmed down a little. So, I kind of thought that was all a hallucination. I haven't gotten good sleep lately, so I figured I was just too deprived of sleep to be thinking clearly. So, I'm guessing I'm not just seeing shit then. No, you're not. Are you good, man? You look a little pale. He responded, a bit more understanding. I can imagine. I mean, I just found out that a bunch of paranormal shit's real. Do you expect me to feel very well after that? I replied, a bit irritable. Not from him, but from my own ignorance. I suppose that makes sense, but it's not like I've had the same experience as you. It's not like I was human, then became the, as you humans put it, Slenderman. I came into existence with an understanding I was not normal. You're the first average human I've shown my true identity to that lived. He explained. The average person can't comprehend my appearance and often go insane. That's actually the main reason I waited so long to show you my true identity. The longer you were around me, even without knowing who I was, your body was adapting to a paranormal presence. After a few moments, I added, Wait, how does that work? Who knows? He replied. I've just been around for so long, it's just something I've learned after thousands of years on Earth. Well, man, I appreciate the conversation and the horrific information I've gained today, but I have work tonight, and I need to get some more sleep. I responded drowsily. He nodded and walked off to his room after that. Since then, Nothing too weird's come up. He's had some interesting friends over, but nothing quite as big has happened since then.